What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Homie Hangout, where we help others move in excellence. And Wes Watson. I have gotten a lot of entertainment watching various videos about him from all sorts of different channels for quite some time now, and it's kind of fun to watch the meltdown, right? Because he's a character. I have not contributed to that content because, for the most part, I haven't really felt like I had anything to add, you know. But as you may have heard, there was an incident at a gym that he largely brought on himself, in which he got into a physical confrontation with somebody. Shout out John Bravo Films. I'm gonna show a clip of one of his more recent videos here in a second. He's kind of spearheaded the airing out of what really happened, and so if you're interested in this kind of stuff, right, stay tuned to his channel. But like I said, I'll show a clip in a minute. But so people have been asking, hey, is it really self defense? Right? Because Wes Watson, of course, that's what he's claiming. It's all self defense. This fool showed up. He wanted the smoke. I gave it to him. Don't bitch and complain now. Um, and in Florida, it's kind of infamous for the stand your ground law because the Trayvon Martin thing. And I think some people kind of misunderstand what that law is. But I figured I will address this part of it. Now, obviously, I don't know exactly what's going to happen. The Miami district attorney is corrupt as shit, right? So, if Wes Watson has a good relationship with law enforcement, then I would not expect him to be charged. Because this lady, I mean, she's been in office what, like 25 years or something like that. She's been a state attorney or Miami attorney in Florida. I know years ago there was a case, Darren something or other, black dude that was locked up in Florida, and he starts spazzing out. He has schizophrenia. COs locked him in a shower for like 2 hours, and literally the dude boiled. Right, he died from his organs boiling from being locked in the shower so long, and he'd been banging and screaming and yelling and trying to get out. She ruled it an accident, even though everything was on video and there's plenty of evidence that the dude should not have been boiled just because he's incarcerated. Um, and everybody called for her to resign. She didn't care, right? She keeps getting reelected. First Cuban, DA in Florida. So it is what it is, right? So who knows what's gonna happen over there? Like it's a very corrupt environment. Um, but here's what I see, right? Here's what I think. First of all, what is uh the whole reasonable force, right? The When are you allowed to use force in Florida? So here's the law. It says a person is justified in using or threatening to use force, except deadly force, against another person or against another when and to the extent that the person reasonably believes that such conduct is necessary to defend him or herself or another against the other's imminent use of unlawful force. A person who uses or threatens to use force in accordance with this subsection does not have a duty to retreat. That's the biggest thing with the stand your ground law. In a lot of states, uh, if you're faced with a threat, you have a legal obligation to try to avoid that. And only if you can't avoid it, and only if it's imminent and it's coming towards you, can you use force. Florida and other states say no, that the responsibility shouldn't be on the person that ain't doing nothing wrong to have to break it down. A person is justified in using or threatening to use deadly force if she reasonably believes that using or threatening to use such force is necessary to prevent imminent death or grave bodily harm to him or herself or another person, or to prevent the imminent commission of a forcible felony. Same thing, you have a right to stand your ground. There, no deadly force is used in this. It is aggressive, it is violent. I think Wes Watson and his cronies should be thankful that the victim wasn't hurt more, because otherwise that really could reasonably be part of the conversation. But I don't think that's what's going to happen here. So what happened, right? Let's take a look here. Again, shout out John Bravo Films. Go check out his channel. He has a lot of the details. So you see this guy circling around side of him.
After he hit him two times with that weight thumb.
Bravo goes on to explain how many times he was hit and everything else. Apparently, what happens is, for those that don't know, a brief little recap. Wes Watson have been kind of having a crash out, right, online from being called out so much. I don't even really want to call trolled, because I think a lot of the stuff said about him was legit, but the pressure got to him, right, and he started kind of spazzing out, and he says, "Look, man, if you're gonna talk bad about me, come down to this gym. These are the days and times that I'm here, and you can get all the smoke, or I'll meet you outside, or whatever." Apparently, this guy, right, responds, right, gets at him on Instagram. There's a record of exchanges between Wes Watson and him in which Wes is like, "Hey, come on down here, man. I'm gonna kick your ass," right? But the dude shows up, right? He's like, "Okay, cool." Which on some level, there absolutely is a whole, hey, you know, FAFO, right? Like fuck around and find out. And I think that's true here, but there's also limits to how far people can go. And I think definitely Wes and his homeboys there went beyond the limit. So this guy shows up, he sets up his camera, he goes over by Wes. That's Wes's homeboys over there. And kind of pushes him a little bit, or sort of backs up, some kind of exchange. Wes gets up, he has the weight belt in his hand. You see they have a little verbal as he kind of, makes the dude flinch. He tells him something along the lines of like, "Why you backing up, bitch?" Right? That the roles are starting to shift here. Right? Now you're turning into the bully, right? And granted, this dude showed up for it, but now the tables are turning, right? And even then, that's still okay if it's a one-on-one situation. Um, so he winds up hitting him with the belt a couple times. The guy falls down, and this guy kind of circles around him in the gray. We'll speed up a little bit. I'm not gonna play much of this video. You guys can go check it out yourself. And then
he comes and he kicks him right in the head. Brutal.
So he's like not a threat right here, right?
Motherfucker can't terrify me.
He's just kind of sitting there trying to get his composure. Wes is,
like I said from the first video I made on this.
And apparently that happens a lot, right? So we're gonna bring this back up, and then we're gonna come over here. We're gonna switch what we're looking at. There we go. So the guy shows up. Multiple people wind up putting hands on that dude, right? The guy in the gray, you see him there with the dumbbell in his hand. John Bravo said he pushed him down with the dumbbell from behind. There's other clips where the guy's trying to back up. He's kind of getting circled. And so that's relevant, right? And I'm not here advocating whatever. I'm giving my impression based on the stuff that's being put out on social media, right? And some familiarity with the law, right? So what do I think is going to happen? I think one of two things. A phrase and riots. This is what I think applies. And again, Florida law, it says a person commits an affray. Like a weird word, right? But a person commits an affray if he or she engages by mutual consent in fighting with another person in a public place to the terror of the people. I think most likely that's what he winds up getting, right? If he gets arrested and charged, I think affray is probably the most likely. It says if you're guilty of an affray, that's misdemeanor to first degree punishable. First degree misdemeanor in Florida gets you maxed out at a year. So realistically, no real jail time, pay some fines. It says in the police report that the victim wants to press charges, right? The victim is pressing charges. Common sense would say the victim is also going to sue Wes Watson. I think that's where he's really going to get the most from this situation. In civil court, Wes has no argument, right? There's no argument for what happened and how far it went. See, in the beginning, cool, you're defending yourself, right? But for one, you can't invite a problem and then claim self-defense. The law doesn't work that way. If I run across the street and get in your face and start threatening you, and then you hit me, I can't then turn around and play victim. Like, oh shit, look, self-defense, and I fight back. I can't claim it's self-defense. I initiated it by going down there, right? So this dude initiated it because he went to the gym. There's also some initiation on Wes's end because he's inviting him to the gym, right? So that's why I think it kind of cancels each other out and it becomes unafraid. They just got into a fight. In prison, we called it a mutual combat, right? A couple guys get into it, no harm, no foul. But then when it went to the point where this dude wasn't a threat anymore, this dude's getting pummeled on the ground. This dude's getting kicked by this guy and kicked by that guy and hit with a weight by this guy. And Wes has hit him a couple times with a weight belt and walking around him, kind of like celebrating like a hunter that has his prey, right? And kind of walking around and mocking the guy. Again, the tables have turned at that point. That's not a fair fight. It really never was a fair fight. This poor dude probably thought he was gonna catch a fair one. Uh, and little did he know that apparently Wes doesn't give fair ones, right? So I think he bit off more than he could chew. Um, but again, I think the tables turned. So if not the affray, right, on the more extreme end of reasonable, what could it be? A person commits a riot if he or she willfully participates in a violent public disturbance involving an assembly of three or more persons acting with a common intent to assist each other in violent and disorderly conduct, resulting in injury to another person, damage to property, or imminent both. Right. So that applies here. Right. Again, will it be prosecuted? Unsure, because the DA is a quack. But uh, technically, you have multiple people. You have three or more people that are involved in this, that are taking an active role in assaulting this dude. That falls under terms of a riot. There is injury. The guy went to the hospital. John Bravo details kind of the extent of the injuries. And there's still some missing information. And I haven't jumped on this right away because I really wasn't sure. And I wasn't that really invested. But after watching it and really watching this most recent video of his, yeah, it can go that route. It can go that route. Now, a person who commits a riot commits a felony of the third degree. That's 5 years, right? That's 5 years in prison in Florida. Not mandatory, but it tops out at 5 years. If they're mad at Wes, if they don't like him, then that's a possibility. The victim, all the YouTube videos, I don't think this stuff really matters a whole lot. The victim pressing charges matters. They're probably gonna tell them, look, you can sue and get, your payback, right? In terms of the criminal stuff, I think the amount of videos that are being done, right? And some of these videos from these larger channels are getting a shit ton of views. So there is like a public pressure kind of building. I think the DA's office is likely gonna have to do something. But again, not to keep saying the same thing, but the DA there is just a different breed, right? So she doesn't cave to pressure either. Like she had the whole Democratic Party, which she claims to be a Democrat. She had the whole Democratic Party in half the state calling for her to resign several times over the last 20 years. And she don't do it. And she keeps getting elected. So she doesn't fold very easy. It all kind of depends on a message that she wants to send. We will see. I think kind of the bigger story is, why is this even a thing? Like, if I'm Wes Watson, which I'm not, and I'm thankful, but if I am, or if there's people around him, like, take a step back and be, how the fuck did you get here? You did your time. Yes, you lied about where you did your time and how you did your time and all. Okay, fine, right? But you came out and you established this identity, and whether it's based on smoke and mirrors or not, you made some money at it, right? You built this career. You're not in the criminal lifestyle. You're not at risk of going to jail with your day-to-day activities. Um, you you made it, quote unquote. You're a success story, right? A piece of shit and a scumbag, I would argue, yes, also. But financially, uh, you know, you've made it past where you were when you caught your case. And yet here you are, right? At risk of going back to jail, at risk of expanding your criminal record. For what? For what? Because you berate and talk a bunch of shit and mock people. So then some people have decided to return the favor, and you folded under the pressure, and now you're just crashing out, inviting people down to a gym and everything else. Like, and somebody shows up, and instead of just standing on business and giving them the fair one, right? That you claim to have done or that you claimed you would do, now it's you even pucker up at that. Oh, man, he's a giant. Let me get this weight belt and let me get these guys and your homeboys are jumping in. I don't know if everybody's just roided out or I don't know what the fuck's going on, but it's even afterwards, like the whole campaign publicly, which I think is why this is getting even more attention, is how Wes has responded to it. But I told you this is what was gonna happen. You didn't tell people that. You didn't tell people if you show up to this gym, I'm gonna start smacking you with equipment around me, and my homeboys are gonna jump on you, and once we get you on the ground, we're gonna make a show of this and just embarrass you. That's not actually what you invited people to do. But still, like, how is this winning? Right? There's more people are gonna not like Wes than already didn't like him. Right? He's probably losing support here. I don't imagine he's gaining a bunch of followers and support, and there's a whole bunch of people lining up now who didn't care before, but all of a sudden now are willing to fork out $1,500 or thousands or whatever the fuck he's charging for his life advice. Like, do you take life advice from this dude? It think he's killing his brand. Like it's just a meltdown. And for what? Just ego, pride. I don't know. But teach their own, man. And you make your bed, you gotta lie in it. Help others move with excellence. That's what homies do. Help yourself at the same time because you're worth it. Help your community because they need you. And stay tuned. I got a video coming in a couple hours about my experience in higher education, going to college when I was in prison, and how that was instrumental in giving me the confidence and courage to make different choices when I came home from prison. It's piggybacking off of the faith one yesterday. If you missed that, which a lot of you guys did, go check that out. And yeah, stay tuned, man. We're on the grind for 2025. You guys take care.